Welcome to Supervisor Not Warranted. My name is Matt Gregory. This is Jake Shelton, and we're bringing Restoration, the first podcast that doesn't bore them to death. Jake, why don't you tell the audience a bit about yourself and why they should listen to you?
Yeah, so I've been in restoration for almost a decade. I have grown a restoration company to 1.7 in 10 months and then sold it to PE. I've done pretty much everything under the sun, and that's why you should listen to me.
Yeah, you dry shit. You're a hammer swinger. A
Yeah, I
damn
make
good one,
shit
too.
dry, so I make wet shit dry.
Don't let anybody tell you different. My name is Matt Gregory. I have been in many facets of the industry, from estimating to GMing to software marketing, and now we are starting the first ever AI implementation company directly for restorers, putting AI directly into their business. No more of the software stuff, no more of the, half-ass solutions that this industry has been provided. But we're also doing this podcast because we love the industry and we want to talk about things. And the first thing that we're going to talk about today, we're going to start it off hot and heavy with the IICRC. Jake, I want to know if you feel as though the IICRC is actually beneficial to this industry. Clock's on you.
Is it beneficial? I think in a very minor capacity it's beneficial. I don't think that they should set standards, because if you contradict yourself in science, it's not science, right?
Yeah. Well, my thing is, like, why does a nonprofit have shareholders? And why are they allowed, these shareholders, why are they allowed to also run these consulting businesses on the side and also set the standards for which they then get people to pay them money to train? It just seems like a direct conflict of interest. And I think if you look at the board, it just shows, like, down the line, there's so much conflict of interest happening here that, like, can we really trust their opinion to be objective?
I don't think so. I think a lot of them, they sit on boards of like insurances and stuff like that, right? So,
Dude, the fucking what's the guy's name? Dan. Let me look it up. His name is Dan Bernays
Jamie, can you look that up?
Whatever. He sits on ITEL's board. Like, he's the director of mitigation services for ITEL Laboratories. And, like, that should not be in the same sentence as I am an S500 chairman. I am the Governmental Affairs Committee chairman for the IICRC. Those two things shouldn't happen at the same time.
I completely agree with you. I've never been IICRC certified. I think that it's the hoax, right? Like, and insurance, the worst part is insurance will tell you that you need to be IICRC certified to get insurance to do the work that you're getting from insurance. And I think that's bullshit.
Literally.
So,
and what's even more bullshit is that half of these guys have direct ties to the insurance companies and are working on behalf of the insurance companies. And it's like, well, no, they've created the self-sustaining life force of just getting paid endless amounts of money. I mean, I think they made like $11 million last year. Why is a nonprofit like that making $11 million? I think you got some shit that's wet, dry it until it is no longer wet. Everything else is just speculative. It's all just theory for the sake of theory.
100% agree with that. 100% agree with that.
Moving on to the next topic then. Ding, ding, ding. AI in restoration, all the rage. It's what everybody's talking about. What are the problems that the software companies, the technology companies do not see that are going to affect this industry and the claims industry as a whole, in your opinion?
Say that again. You're cutting in and out.
Was it really? Okay, we can edit that in post. Next up is problems with AI that is getting implemented in restoration. What do you foresee as the biggest issues that the software companies are going to face that they don't understand when it comes to putting this type of technology into restoration businesses?
So I think a lot of guys right now are just running ChatGPT. I know that we kind of go back and forth on this of, you don't think that people have implemented AI at all. I really think that people think that they've implemented AI, but mainly they're just running ChatGPT to throw in an estimate and say, is this correct? Or how do I fight this? Or how do I prove this guy wrong? But that's about the extent that AI is in.
That is a good way to use it. Like, that, like, don't knock it. That is still better than nothing.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that the implementation of AI within the industry is really going to change because we just saw Claude and the MCP with Verisk. That's going to be wild to the industry. And I don't think that these guys know enough about it to be able to even be starting to talk on it. And I don't think we even know enough about it to even be able to start, diving really deep into it, because we've been looking at this, and I know you've been planning on this for the last 5 years, that
I was gonna say
something was
that's
going to
dead
change the
wrong. Yeah,
restoration
yeah, yeah. No, no.
space.
Like I definitely probably no. It's like don't insult
Yeah.
me.
No, but like with the MCP, like we didn't know what an MCP was a year ago.
Yeah, no, everything is moving very fast.
So, and I mean, I think realistically, the next 18 months, if guys don't implement realistic AI, realistic job performance, realistic AR tracking, then QuickBooks just isn't going to cut it anymore. And they're going to fall behind. And eventually they're going to get swallowed up by PE, and they're going to get, pennies on the dollar.
Yeah, and I think what kills me is like the way these software companies are like implementing AI into our app or into our technology, and it's like, bro, that's just another way of using Chat GPT inside of Company Cam. Like you just speaking your notes into Company Cam and it coming out with a report, or like in Circle coming out with their scope. It's just like you're literally just as good going into Chat GPT and doing the exact same thing. It's no different. Putting AI next to something doesn't make it actually impressive. I actually think these software companies are in a race to the bottom because it's going to become cheaper for restorers to start building their own tech, to start implementing their own systems that work because of this AI. And God only knows where the data is going from some of these companies. So you know what? They should. Like AI is not coming to take restorers' jobs, but it's coming for All Beware and Circle, Mika, Dash, like every single one of them. The restoration business owners are able to now take control of the tech they use. And I think these CRMs and apps are going to have a lot of problems in the next year or two as they deal with that.
Yeah, this is a big conversation too, because you can also see what AI is doing within our industry, and that i- you can see all this AI slop coming out is what I love this
Oh
word. I
God,
love the
so
AI
much, dude.
slop word,
So much.
because it's like it just shows you like it's AI brain rot, right?
It
And
really
you can
is.
see if you've seen one AI generated website, you've seen 100 generated websites.
Note
They're all
immediately
the
as soon
same.
as you
They
see
all
it.
have the emojis. They all have it, just anything like, and
Yep.
just these people that are coming out of like arborist companies or
Yeah.
flooring companies, or are just sticking AI slop on the industry and then expecting us to eat it.
Yep.
And I think that that's where a lot of these companies that are like, oh, if we can pull 10 guys off of Albi, if we can pull 10 guys off of Encircle, is it worth $1,000 a month for a $3 product that they put out?
They will nonetheless. Either way, they will, and Albi will lose those 10 clients, and Circle will lose those 10 clients. And what happens when that goes on 10, 15, 100 different times with 100 different people? Well, like, that's something you kind of got to look at and like
Yeah,
say, well, why not just build it in house, build it yourself? Because
that's
you
exactly where I was
can do
going.
that without having to like buy somebody's AI slop
Yep. And then you get to control the data as well, right?
data.
So no one's stealing your data and then selling it to a private equity company that's going to reach out to you, and you're going to say,
Under
well, where did you get this data
how'd you
from?
know that? Yeah, exactly, dude. This is like the biggest thing. Our industry's so bad at like controlling or even caring even about where their data is going.
Yeah.
And like, but read your user license agreements with the CRMs that you guys are using. Every single one of them says the same thing. We can use and sell your data for whatever we want to do it. And I guarantee a good amount of them are. I'm not going to name names just yet, right? But like, I guarantee a good amount of them are.
Yeah. I know there's definitely going to be a iTell video coming out shortly, 2027, of who that company is going to be. But
Well, look,
stay
I'm
tuned.
just
Stay tuned.
saying. I'm just saying there's certain CRMs that are definitely culpable of this, but we will get there. We will get there. Billing the homeowner versus the carrier on the next topic. Is it right? Where do you bill? Who's your contract with? I mean, this is something that gets debated. Let's talk about who you're billing at the job site for when you're finished with the mitigation. Who gets the invoice?
The customer gets the invoice. The customer gets the invoice at the end of the day, because you don't have a contract with the insurance. So I can speak off of how I built my company. I took a deposit. I did not take a deductible because
Be
there's a
clear.
difference when you
Be
take a
very clear
deductible.
about that.
Yeah, very clear. My contract said I took a deposit. It could be in the equal to the amount of the deductible, but I did not take a deductible. So, yeah, the deposit that I took, a lot of the times it was in the amount of the deductible. And it's an interesting thing when, I started, it was 500, it was 1,000, and then it started to be 15, then it started to be 25.
25,
I've
10.
had several that were 20 grand. And, but ultimately, how do you fight a company that you don't have a
Doesn't owe you
contract with?
money. Doesn't owe you money.
They don't owe you money.
It's
And
hard, man, because a lot of people don't have, like, what was your average MIT? 7, 8, 9 grand? Like,
yeah,
people don't have that kind of money lying around. So, like, he who pays has to say. And a lot of times with insurance, like, people are afraid because they don't have $9,000. And it's like, oh, well, they can finance, or oh, they can do this. And, like, I don't know. I'm not into that. Like, I still believe we should do everything in our power to make sure that insurance is paying that bill at the end of the day. Because, like, that's our responsibility to, like, our neighbors, right? Like, to the people that we serve.
absolutely.
And that's like to say, like, fuck these insurance companies. Like, we are going to
Yeah,
make sure that they pay. But you're 100% right in the client gets the invoice only so the client has the proper backing to go to their insurance company and say, like, look, this dude is charging me 9 grand and he's not talking to you. So either you're going to reimburse, and you got to coach them, obviously. Like, you can't say this out loud, but I will because I'm not on that side anymore. You have to
yep,
coach them in what to say. You can't just send them off to the wolves. They'll get eaten alive. But if they can go to the insurance with a paid in full invoice and they can say, like, look,
yep,
I owe this guy money. Like, you owe me because that's what cost incurred is. That's how they get paid to make sure insurance gets the bill, 100% of the time. But at the end of the day, we don't want to be like a dickhead to a lot of people are like, oh, build a homeowner. That's who you're contracted with. It's like, all right, dude, like, no need to be an asshole about things. Like, let's not give us all a bad name because
yeah,
you're greedy.
yeah.
We want to make sure insurance is paying as much as possible, but you have to be kind of sneaky in how you go about that, at least to the carrier side of things.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's an interesting world where I don't think you should finance things for the customer. I don't think that because you're a company, you're a for-profit company. So you are for profit.
What if they don't have the money? You can't draw blood out of a rock.
Well, and that's where I get into our sponsor, Acorn,
Yeah, welcome to.
who doesn't pass
It's like,
the
funny bringing up our sponsor Allbe Pay has just joined the chat. Yeah, it's like
Yes,
it's hard, man. You
yes.
got to make somebody. I think that you provide them the
But
paid
no,
in
like
full
all
invoice. I'm not saying finance them 100% of the way, but I am saying use discretion, dude. Like, if you're done the job and it's 5 days later, and the insurance, like, you make 70% margins, man. Like, come on, like, give insurance at least a week to reimburse their
yeah,
client before you're like, I'm tacking on interest. It's like, you don't got to be a dick about it. Just use discretion, I think. And as long as they're
yeah,
fighting for your bill to get paid, then you should treat them accordingly. As long as they're pushing to make sure that you're getting paid, that this
for
money's
sure.
moving, treat them accordingly.
I agree completely. I think a lot of guys out here, we could go on and on about this conversation, but I think a
Yeah,
lot of guys out here are like, how do I get my net 30 down? And it's like,
yeah,
in reality, that's good. That's a good
yeah.
operating that, I would love to get it. If I get it to 14 days, that would be peachy keen. If I could get it on the job, I would
Obviously,
love
yeah.
every second of that. But that's not a world we live in, especially when you are billing the insurance and expecting the insurance to pay.
Yeah, which you should never expect the insurance to. They don't owe you money. But that client needs to understand that the insurance owes them money and to not balk at the insurance is oftentimes scare tactics that they use that say, oh, they don't need this, they didn't need that. It's like their job's to determine policy, not scope of work. So, like, it's all about onboarding that client and getting them on your side to fight on their own behalf and yours as well, I think.
Yeah. And I think that, you talk about being a good neighbor and like doing all the stuff like for the clients as well, for the customer. And like, get out there, do everything you possibly can to get out there prior to the adjuster and with
Yeah.
the adjuster.
Yeah. Definitely before the adjuster too. Like,
Definitely
you wanna
before
be
the
able to set
adjuster.
the scene, make sure everything looks right. Like, I don't know,
Yeah,
man.
exactly.
I'm a I'm a proponent of, like, these insurance carriers are unethical institutions. As restorers, obviously, we have an ethical duty to our client, but we do not have an ethical duty to the carrier. Like, I'm sorry, man. And at the end of the day, like, if they are going to play the tactics that they play to make sure that they don't pay their clients, there's nothing you could show me from a restoration point of view that's going to be like, hey, don't do that. Like, as long as you're doing right by your client, I don't give a shit if you clean mold and call it a water loss. Like, doesn't matter to me, because otherwise they're going to try to cap you, or they're going to delay the claim on a water loss so that it becomes a mold claim. It's just like, dude, do what you gotta do to get paid, and like, make sure you're doing right by the client.
Exactly. And like, I think that's the part of being a good business owner and being a good mitigation person is like, you have to understand your customer doesn't know the insurance process
Yeah.
9 times out of 10. And so, like a good neighbor, I'll wipe that mold off,
I'll wipe
right?
that mold
Like,
right off, dude. What are you talking about? That suddenly happened. Sudden and accidental are
exactly,
the our
man.
favorite words.
Yeah. Like a
Yeah,
good
man. I
neighbor, I'll
100%
wipe that
agree with
mold
that.
off.
I've never seen mold in my life. I don't even know what that word is.
Nah, dude, I've never seen it.
TPAs, good or bad? What are your takes on the TPAs? They are all the rage these days.
The guys out there on TPAs, man, are feeling a hurting right now. Feeling a
Yes, they are.
hurting.
I mean, everybody is.
Everybody is. Everybody is. And there's a way around that. And it doesn't start with work with somebody else. But TPAs, I wish that I had semi-guaranteed work. I was a marketer for a company for a little while, and there was one day that I didn't get a job, and I got reamed for not getting a job that day. And at those points, I'm like, hey, guaranteed work or semi-guaranteed work is really nice. But now, all these other companies are really feeling that they're not having work come in, and they don't know what to do. They don't know where to go to Google, plumbers. They don't know agents, adjusters, dude. Like, man, what was the guy talking about? He was like, I go to adjusters and he does TPA work, and the adjusters give him work, and he's like, I'll probably get 2, 3, 4 a week off of adjuster, and like how he's trained himself and his marketers to do that. We're working with him is like, that's phenomenal. That's phenomenal.
I mean, I think that was definitely a strategy that was better strategy pre-COVID. Like, there once upon a time that was the great strategy, but like
Yeah.
now the adjusters have kind of moved in-house. They tend to warlord guys out there, and like, look, everybody that's on a TPA wants to get off a TPA. Everybody that's off a TPA wants to get on a TPA. It's the grass is always greener. And is there a way to be profitable? 1000%. It's just changing so much.
Yeah.
And I foresee now with things like Exact Restore and like AI being in Exactimate, well, like, why do we need TPAs? Like, if I'm State Farm, if I'm Allstate, USAA, I'm going to say, well, the need to manage a claim, the need to like review this thing with AI kind of is able to be removed. And I think Alacrity, Contractor Connection, Sedgwick, all these guys are going to have a lot of trouble moving forward as State Farm brings it in-house, as Allstate sends it over to Bangladesh. They already have with their what are they? Not contents is over in like Bangladesh, but like one of their departments they've already moved overseas. And so like, I think this is going to be a reality. I don't think the TPAs are going to be around much longer. However, I think it'll be TPA under a different name. It'll be the Allstate Good Hands Network or whatever they have directly within Allstate, not shipped out to Alacrity. So it's like, be good on the insurance side if you want that kind of work, but just know you're going to take it in the ass from time to time, like a lot of the times. And that's the price you have to pay for consistent work, is you take it with no Vaseline sometimes, and it sucks. It's just the trade-off.
Yeah, I think I've never worked in TPA. I know enough that I'm glad I didn't. But I do know that with the TPA side of things, you have to hit marks. And I think that's really
SLAs.
where AI is going to really step in. And I think you could probably tell me a little bit more about that, of like where these
If
checkpoints
I'm
you're supposed to hit along the way.
if you're on a TPA right now, you shouldn't be responding to any reviewer again. You should literally have ChatGPT, Claude, one of these like AI models understand how you write. And like, I would not respond to another reviewer. I wouldn't go over another comparative that they sent me. The first estimate my boss gave me was like 300 lines, and I had to go through line by line and circle where it was on ours and where it wasn't on. Like, dude, stop doing any of that. I would completely outsource all communications with these TPAs because, like, A, you're talking to a brick wall. So, like, who cares really? Just like you're updating them, but like, you shouldn't have to do this manual time intensive stuff because that's all they are, is a time suck on everything. And AI can solve a lot of that. That is where the TPA, the restoration company that does TPA will succeed where others won't. And like, that is just the clear answer to me, is leverage this technology there. It makes so much sense.
Give me mid-size shop. What do you think the average hours that you could be saving would be? Just random,
Oh my
like
God.
mid-size shop.
Dude, I could take 5 to 10 hours off of a project manager today. If you estimate that's like mid-size, let's say they do 260 to 300 jobs per year on a TPA, you could easily save thousands, if I'm being honest, like thousands of hours of the admin stuff, because that's the biggest struggle. That's why guys don't make money on TPAs, is the burden of administrative work that just is so consistent there. And you can save thousands of hours on replying to them, on comparative estimates, on the do those timelines that you have to fill out. Like, all of these things can basically be shrunk into minutes, what used to take hours, and you could save thousands of them in a given year just by doing a few simple things. Like, not even that crazy, just a couple simple things.
Yeah, and I think 99 times out of 100 guys are not billing for admin hours.
You can't
And
on a TPA. That's not a thing.
on top of
You're not
that,
allowed
they're
to.
not getting paid.
Yeah, you're not
So
even allowed to do it on
they
a TPA.
should, though.
It's just expected. Look, I get it. I got some hot news. I got hot insider news if the industry wants to hear it. Word on the street is possibly, they might be adding a line item into Xactimate for documentation. Can't say much more, but I am telling you, LAB DOC sounds like a hell of a line item that should be implemented, because the over documentation this industry is required to do is done with it. Done with the photos, the dry logs. Like, you want me to do your job, you're gonna have to pay.
Absolutely. That's exactly how I ran it. Sounds like my line item. So
Yeah, LAB DOC.
yeah.
I like that one.
Yeah, I would have made it a fee instead of a LAB, but
I think it is a flat one.
Yeah.
This is, like I said, it's early. It's in its early days.
It's
But,
early. It's early. Yeah.
dude,
We
with
didn't
that,
create
I
that
think
line item.
no, not at all. That has been a great first episode, man. I think let's leave that on that note. Till next week, I'm Matt Gregory.
I'm Jake Shelton.
Great energy, buddy. See you next week.